The countdown has begun, ladies and gentlemen, for potentially the final match of the semi-finals of Assembly 2011. Will BratOK be able to pull this back? He's currently 2-0 down. He's in a really hard place right now, and MaNa looking almost unbeatable in PBT. And here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Right here on the crevasse, I bring you BratOK right here. He is in the red trunks. He is playing Terran to the southwest versus his opponent, the one and only MaNa. He is in the green trunks playing Protoss to the northeast.
And I'll take the easy question and the easy answer. It's what's MaNa going to do this game? And I'm going to answer it as well. It's going to be the same. There's no reason for him to change whatsoever. His build is completely fine, and he's doing ever so well with it. I mean, he's getting up the expansion nice and safe. He's identifying what BratOK is doing. He's adding on those extra gateways and nice and in a precaution manner. And what can BratOK do, though? I'll give you the hard answer.
Well, how the hell should I know at this point? MaNa is looking so strong. Battlecruiser Rush doesn't work against Protoss. Trust me, I've tried it. Whatever the case, BratOK is now in a cross position, which of course means the rush distance is longer, which means that any kind of 2-rack pressure that we might have seen from him is going to be significantly more difficult to pull off. Does BratOK go for the same build again, knowing that he's got this pocket expansion at the back? It seems like it isn't going to work.
I mean, if he does it again, there must be something that we're not seeing here, or something that he's like, you know, this will work. I swear to God, it will work. In Russia, it works, but I mean, not in Finland, apparently.
Evidently not. And this is, of course, about the time that you'd expect to see BratOK get some gas, either on 13 or 14 supply. Both are possible. Will he go for it? No, he will not.
Okay, so he's going to do it again. He's going to open up the exact same build. And this is intriguing because it keeps getting shut down game after game after game. And I think the biggest issue, in my opinion, is that I don't think he should really go for that 4th racks. You know, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm a bad player and a bad analysis, but I think he should be getting an earlier engineering bay. Should push the advantage lead, because that's one of MaNa's weaknesses. He doesn't really get the upgrades flowing nice and early. He prefers to go for Zealot Charge, prefers to then add on the Forge a lot later on.
Yeah, it's interesting actually that we pointed out earlier that he kind of follows the mouse spot style, but he's starting to deviate from that in a fairly severe way in PBT, because the mouse spot style generally involves double Forge, heavy upgrades and things like that, and this is not now happening. And I have to wonder if that's actually contributing to his success, because these upgrades don't seem to be all that important against Terran that play in this way.
And I mean, Zealot Charge is pretty good too, but look at this, we do have the gas going down. We have a little bit of change from MaNa in this game. I mean, why not? He's got a 2-0 lead up against BratOK.
Oh yeah, he can pull whatever he wants.
And especially if he thinks that, you know, if BratOK's going to do the same again, I'm going to do something a little bit different this time.
Yep, absolutely. We're going to mine it up. We're going to... It almost looked like he was placing 6 probes into a simulator, which would class as different.
Indeed it would. And now as the money builds up, I mean, wouldn't it be incredible if we saw another command center? Oh my God, that would be good. But nope, here comes all the barracks.
Yeah, it's the same build again. And has BratOK identified some kind of weakness in either his build or his opponent's? Because if he hasn't, this to me seems like absolute suicide. And I really don't know why he would do that. It has failed so many times now. It has been shut down so many times. Another command center would be a gutsy move and might actually work, simply because his opponent is very, very passive. This one gateway expand is so incredibly common from him. He does it every game.
Yeah, he has gone for the 2 gas though this time, so it's a little bit different. 1 gate with the 2 gas expand, and basically it's just safer. He can get sentries out a lot easier, and he can force field in basically. And I think MaNa was expecting BratOK to change it around, do some kind of 2-rex play like he's been known to do. And
and he'll get away, but he has denied the scout once again.
Yeah, and as I said, I mean, he was expecting some kind of 2-rex pressure or so on, so we got the double gas to make sure he's nice and safe, can add on additional sentries or whatever. But he's seen the marine count already. He knows the build is the same once again, so he's not going to really morph in any units right now because the pressure can't really come as of yet.
No, it can't. He can't start throwing Marines across the map right now. What he's going to do? It's going to be shut down very quickly by those sentries. Now, we did see that there was a bit more success with the drops right there from BratOK. I have to wonder if he's going to try and do that a little bit earlier. It's certainly not a bad map for it. There's all sorts of possibilities. But MaNa seems so good on the defense at this point.
Ooh, I like this by BratOK. Early engineering bay, stim down as well. Is going to be going for that early +1. And that's what I wanted to see from him. I don't really like this Ghost Academy because, again, in that second game, doesn't really give him anything. I mean, obviously EMPs are great, but this early on, they're just not that useful because the units of MaNa are so well spread out. He accepts the Ghost so well, and you invest so much money in them. They're not really game-changing like they are late game against High Templar and Storms.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've also seen that the High Templar control of MaNa is pretty much impeccable in almost every way. And he practices so much with the use of Templar. He was known for his MaNa Storms, and he's also known now for his very accurate feedback. He hits the feedback every single time. Adding on the factory now, no doubt going for the Marine Marauder Medivac build, but this early +1 may tip him over the edge. That said, I would like to point out that because MaNa has that much gas, he has the ability to pump out a lot of sentries, and the Guardian Shield will just dull that attack just a little bit, which may give him what he needs to push BratOK away.
Yeah, and to think, I'm pretty sure that in the entire of that last game, that one gateway was never turned into a warp.
No,
so
he didn't need it.
Doesn't need it, apparently. 2 more gateways been added on here for MaNa, and we are going to be going into this double observer play, completely standard from him. And BratOK now with the factory, going to be throwing down that starport very, very shortly. There we go. And he's going to poke out, do a little bit of pressure. He does have stim. He can take his units down to like half health, I suppose, and then retreat, start to heal them up with the medivacs. But obviously, it would be disastrous for him if he lost all these.
Yeah, it would be a very nasty engagement, and also bear in mind he doesn't have concussive shell, so he doesn't have a really great way of getting the hell out of there if need be at the moment. MaNa, his observer spots that almost immediately. Now, needless to say, I do not believe BratOK knows that's actually there. It is, of course. Now it moves. Admittedly, he does not have control of this cell line watchtower, so that doesn't really matter all that much. And there's the Twilight Council right here for MaNa, and this is looking fairly similar to last game, but he's getting Zealot Charge a little bit earlier.
Yeah, I mean, he's getting Zealot Charge out now. Another gateway added, and there's Templar Archives. And, you know, as I noted, I mean, with this build that MaNa likes to do, getting this early Zealot Charge and then added on the early Templar Archives, he kind of neglects the fact that, you know, he can go for this forge early on. And because of that, BratOK's got this +1 upgrade and an advantage, and he's going to have 1-1 before +1 even finishes for MaNa here. But the problem with this is, though, that Storm is probably better than 1-1 upgrades.
I would say so, especially in the hands of MaNa. It probably wouldn't be all that great in the hands of BratOK, but you never know. He might off-race. Whatever the case, BratOK does have a lot of firepower at his disposal, but the army supply count is too equal for my liking. It's far too close together. He's going to take his third right there, which will be quite nice considering he's getting that down before his opponent, and he does have reasonable map control at the moment. The thing is, MaNa knows exactly what's going on. He walks right past the observer because he has no way of really spotting that unless it moves, and I have to wonder what MaNa's going to do. He is going to retreat, and he's going to look to try and fight in a nice, narrow area. The problem with fighting on Crevasse, of course, is the huge amount of space right here. That means that Marine, Marauder, Medivac ball could be nice and divided, and here comes a drop right here to, well, it would be the back expansion. MaNa sees it and already moves to intercept.
Yeah, the observer sees it, and once again we could be looking at a disastrous drop for BratOK. In come the Stalkers, but they are going to unload in time with Stim. These Stalkers are actually in trouble.
Yeah, the Stalkers actually will not hang up against that, and he actually has concussive shell now as well, so he can apply some real pressure right here. MaNa getting nailed down, and while he waited just a little bit, it's no Storms available either, actually. He hasn't researched it. A two-pronged attack as BratOK goes right in. This +1 is giving the ability to carve through the gateway units, and in he comes from the side. A big feedback right there. Large spawning of units, and BratOK will be forced backwards on 2 fronts.
Yeah, really nice play from BratOK, and that's what I wanted to see. I mean, stop using this Ghost Academy early and play more like this, and he did really well there, and he caused a lot of damage to the units, but he didn't really hurt the economy whatsoever.
No, he did not.
You know, obviously he saw the expansion was down here. Now Storm is finished, and to be honest, I mean, the one thing it did allow him to do was to get the third base up, which is the most important fact out of everything here. He's got that command center up. He's now got the economy lead.
Yeah, and he needs it. He really, really does. If he can keep the upgrades going, exploiting the fact that his opponent really is not doing anything in that regard. Yes, right. If his opponent is not upgrading, then he can get a massive advantage. The amount of firepower you can get in a big fireball like that with that, and there's the armory coming up, so he's definitely going for it. And right now, however, MaNa with a vicious counterattack on the way in, and there is the aggressive pylon shut down. Nicely done by BratOK, so that's going to cause him a few problems at least. And he spots the observer. He knows where that is. And there are no ghosts in the mix this time around, so those High Templar, yes, they can storm, but no cheeky little feedbacks.
Cheeky little feedbacks. And in comes MaNa now. He does have Storm, remember, so
It's dangerous. It really, really is. The medivacs are back just to make sure that they don't get feedback either. A storm on either side of the unit. BratOK streaming in reinforcements, but he's eating storm after storm right now. However, I think BratOK should be able to clean this up without too much of a problem. The question is how much economic damage was done. We will find out momentarily. No Archons for you.
You know what I said before, Toro Biscuit? I said that 1-1 would be completed before MaNa even goes for +1.
You're damn
and
right.
Look how effective that was there.
It really does help. Those upgrades matter, and MaNa is not even touching upgrades. In fact, he's not building anything at the moment. He actually has over 1,000 minerals. I think he's just saving for a big warpin. He must be. I mean, why else would he have over 1,000? 8 zealots. That's what I call a big warpin right there, and a forge coming up. But this +2 is well on the way.
Yeah, +2's on the way now, and every second that this game drags on, MaNa falls behind in the upgrades. The forge is on its way now, though. But this army composition from BratOK, got to be careful of eating storms, though.
Oh, he takes 1-2, and oh, they're all down, and BratOK now with the aggressive advantage. The momentum comes in, and he warps in Temple. It won't make a blind bit of difference. They're not going to have the energy. No catering amulet for you, I am afraid. And BratOK throwing it down right now on MaNa, and those upgrades really helping enough. The charge is done. He goes in for it. However, that force was just annihilated. Hey, let's take some free sentries right now, and that's the natural denied by the looks of it. MaNa might be forced out of this game. GG.